thought they were from the, you know, from the tip, their aggressiveness, really as much as anything, that in every manifestation of the game knocked us back, and you know we have to be more, you know, focused on that. You know, every play has challenges in that regard, whether it's running, you know, defensively. You know, you can point to anything. I could list them for you, but I think that, frankly, is everything starts and flows from there. And we're at a point in the year where we need to be ready to go tomorrow night. It's really what it comes down to. Establish that mindset. We've had that. You know, this is what it looks like when we're not, especially during a certain stretch where it was, you know, where we lost the game.
Not to point to anything in particular, but how much maybe did that 3 p.m. start kind of get guys out of their routines, rhythms, whatever
Yeah,
it is?
this is one of those ones where you can probably point to a lot of things, but as much as anything, those are the things right now that, you know, you have to overcome to whatever extent that's the case. And even if you're feeling some of that at the beginning of the game, you know, we have to respond. Over the course of the game, there was moments that you saw that response, but at that point, you know, it's got to be something that's consistent throughout the game.
Coach, when you're here where you are now, as part of the season, you see a team do a game like that. Does it concern you at any point because we're so late in the season that you're still doing
No, I think anytime, you know, that you don't play well or, you know, don't play, you know, part of it for us is that aggressiveness defensively leads to baskets. It makes it harder for us to get out on the floor. It allows them to, you know, to be more physical in the half court. So I think we understand that situation. It was, you know, you really felt it tonight, obviously. We played that way against Dallas. We didn't win the game, but, you know, against a physical team with size. So we have to respond from that, you know. There's time you can have a, you know, I think at this point in the year it's not a flush it game. You got to take from it what you need to take from it to go forward and to be better. You know, there's got to be that urgency at this point. I think that is what you face in playoff situations. So that's something we need to understand. And if OG is as physical as he is, you've got to be able, you know, you may not be able to impose your will on a certain level, but we have to have that. I'm using him as an example, but, you know, whoever it was getting into us, you know, their aggressiveness in pick and roll, their aggressiveness on the glass, their aggressiveness defensively, and you have to understand that that's, you know, certain teams are going to do that more than others, but, you know, it's something we've got to be prepared for and not just respond to, but initiate, you know, regardless of size or strength or anything like that. It's a mentality that we have to have.
Coach, you mentioned this briefly, but just despite that rough start, you guys are still down 7, you know, heading into the second quarter.
Yeah.
Seems like they're making everything in that second quarter. You guys are not really hitting shots. How much of it is that Knicks defense that's kind of disturbing you guys, especially from the perimeter?
Yeah, you know, I think there are some things, again, I think that's the physicality of their defense. You know, that's how they're built right now. And, you know, it impacted us. And as you said, you know, we did respond at certain points. That response has to be more consistent across the board. And, you know, as I said, yes, as far as at this point in the year, you know, you want to have that kind of ingrained and habitual. But you see something like that, we got to recognize it, and we got to change it, and that impacts your execution as well.
Coach, with you downsized because of injuries and that sort of thing, what's the thought process with using Mo? Because I think he played like 5 minutes through the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, well, he started the game, you know, and you know, there's a couple ways you can go about that. You can chase matchups and try to stay big. That's hard for us to do because at some point we have to play somewhere else because we have Mo and Dom and O. So we're not going to stay big throughout the course of the game unless we're playing all those 3 guys in, you know, in a 3-man rotation. And then when we got down, part of when we've been good is when we made shots and hit threes. And you find yourself where we are at halftime, and we're down where we are. There's no easy answer for those questions. Shots go in, and that seems like the right thing. They don't go in. We weren't stopping anybody anyway. But again, those are decisions that present themselves in every game. And we've been playing 10 guys too. So however the minutes get distributed, it's been a little different from game to game. A few guys consistently play. When we face double big teams, we've started big, and then if they downsize, we've done that. Or certain games we downsize, and then they play small too. So it's really a game to game thing.
Yeah, Quin, when you don't have a practice or a shoot around before you go tomorrow, how do you address the things from tonight to make sure you don't seep into tomorrow?
You prepare. I think what we're, even in a short period of time, you still have an opportunity to walk through. Yeah, but I think as much as anything, there's always some tactical things that, we got blitzed and pick and roll. I don't think we handle that as well as we can, or we have. But more than anything, it's just kind of setting our minds. And I don't think we need to shoot around to do that. That's just something we got to decide to do and focus on.
Thanks, Coach.